Hello and welcome to another Salesforce Pro Suite self-implementation video. In today's video, I'm going to walk you through creating a new user in your Pro Suite edition, and I'm going to just hopefully help you avoid a few mishaps or answer a few questions and challenges that you might have. But we're going to jump right in. So I am logged into my Pro Suite here, and I'm going to go to my quick settings. It's great to add your users, just starting your users from here, but know that you can also go into the advanced, but we'll just walk through your basics. So of course, always search for license for your users first, make sure that you didn't add them and you just need to reactivate them. But if you need to add a new user, some of this is pretty self-explanatory. So we're just going to say, Natalie, I'm going to use my main name, Regier, Natalie at Catalyst Tech, and then we're going to just pick a standard user. Now, just a quick mention here, all I'm going to say is make sure you don't add too many admins. That asks for trouble, and it's unnecessary and can cause a lot of confusion and frustration because too many people can then be making organization-wide changes, and really that should be left to one or two individuals. All right, next it's going to ask me permissions, and you can kind of see that they're related to the apps on the left-hand navigation. And so you can just give access to whichever areas you need them to, and don't worry, you can always go back and add more permissions if you need to. Okay, so I saved her. One thing I'm going to just go quick full screen here. A couple things I want to mention is be careful how many users you add because you cannot delete them once you've created them. So be aware of that. Note, too, also, if somebody leaves, I've seen it where people go and just change the user to the new person, and that's a bad idea. Instead, deactivate that old person, create a new record because you want to maintain the history of what that previous person did in the system. Salesforce has a ton of tools that help you move and transfer those records to the new person. So don't that's a bad practice and you just don't want to do that. Additionally, you want to, I'm looking at my list here. Know that Salesforce licenses are named licenses, right? So they're not concurrent, and it's hard to be concurrent anyways because you have to have multi-factor authentication set up and all those things. If you do have a scenario where somebody is where you have people you have two part-time people who do the same role, or if that's a real business model for you, right? Like you have 50 people that do that, then work with Salesforce. They can either help you with pricing so that you get a better discount, or they will help you figure out how you can do more concurrent. But just in general, not a good idea to share licensing. Too many risks of data leaking and breaching, things like that, as well as audit checking. So if you have concerns with your pricing, talk to your account executive and tell them, really what you're striving for. There are a lot of different pricing options that you can actually explore, and even different licenses that you can pair with those licenses. So just explore that if that's a struggle for you. All right, so let's go back into the last thing. Actually, before I jump back, one of the opportunities you can do when you add these new users to help you test out the org, or as you're getting the system set up, one of the things I like to do, I do with every consulting company I work with, or when I'm the admin, I go to my best people. I try to find my best performers, and I say, hey, we're going to implement this new system. I would love to have you get in the system. Our whole goal is to help you do your job more effectively and efficiently. We want to help you hit your goals. When you think about salespeople, we want you to sell more. We want you to get a better commission. So let's set up the system in a way that helps your day-to-day operation work better. When you invite them in that way versus saying how does it feel if I implement a system and I'm like, hey, did you get your stuff in? Your stuff in. Hey, did you get your stuff in yet? Like, hey, where's that at? Why haven't you put your stuff in the system? Right? It gets just like, right? They get that natural tense up, right? Because then that system was built for you, versus if you go and you build a system for your end user, they will be more involved, they will care about it more, they will use it more, and you will get better data in return. So just would say, as you create these users, use it as an invitation for them to help you design the system in a way that will make them perform better. All right. So we've done this, right? But we want to make some modifications. We want to see what's going on. If you need to, you can deactivate the user from here, right? But maybe maybe we need to make more advanced changes. So how do we do that? I'm going to hit advanced setup, and it's just saying, are you sure? I didn't make any changes. So yes, I'm sure. Let's go to advanced setup. Okay, so here there's not much to actually that you need to add. Some of these are kind of old settings that you really don't even need to worry about. The only thing is I would point out to you is making sure that the alias name is good, because that's what a lot of users will see in list views and reports as to who created or changed a record. There's that, as well as, some people like to use Salesforce as a bit of a directory instead of an intranet. You can totally do that there. The only other two things I would look at is, one is a manager. Putting a manager in there, that works. That's helpful for sometimes some reporting as well as some approval processes. But again, not even a requirement. The one big other thing that I would absolutely make sure is right, and again, I talk about this in video one in this channel. It's VD120, where I talk about time zone settings and defaults. Make sure you get this right on the user level, and you can set it at a company level default, because this affects meeting times, this affects timestamps, date stamps. And if you do this after they've already created a bunch of records, then things don't look right. Especially if they're putting prospect meetings in there and the times, then they'll be off, and that can obviously be bad. All right, so that's all there is really there. I'm going to hit cancel because I want to bring you to a couple other things. We're going to click on Michelle here. And so one of the things that might be confusing to you is, how you saw that screen up front after you created her, and there was like a plus sign, and you could add which permissions you wanted to give her. Well, now you're like, oh, crap, I needed to give her service. Where do I do that? There's these quick links here. See how we see this here? It's called a permission set group assignment. And this is where you can go and hit edit, and you can add more of those permissions to her profile. So maybe I needed her to have service as well. Then I click save, and now like immediately, I'm used to old servers, systems that stuff had to happen overnight, and then tomorrow maybe it was right. This is instant. Literally, she refreshes and she'll have access. I think it's just crazy. Okay, so I'll go. There's some stuff I want to review here, but let's first go through these buttons. You obviously saw me hit edit. I'm gonna hit sharing, but if you're a new org, I don't think most people won't need the sharing option right away. So that's for more advanced stuff. Obviously, resetting passwords is important, and then freezing. So freezing is if, say you think, like this is what I've had this experience where a user's computer got hacked, and we had to shut them down right away. And so sometimes when users are tied to settings in the system, you're not able to deactivate them, and it causes a problem. And so you can freeze them instead. Just know that if you freeze them, that user will still count against your licenses that you've purchased. So to get that license count right, if they're no longer with you, or if they moved on to a different role, you have to deactivate. You have to check that box off. Okay. But freezing is nice when you're not able to deactivate them for whatever reason right away. Viewing summary. This will just give you a very detailed view as to what this person has access to. Again, a bit more advanced. I don't think you need it right away. Same with permission sets, all those things. Permission set groups is really the one you'd want to pay attention to right away. And then what I want you to know is there is some audit tracking, right? So if all of a sudden somebody lost access or whatever, like you can go in and see when people were assigned permissions. And then also the other big thing is down here, a login history. So again, lots of other stuff that you don't really need to pay attention to, but you might want to know when did that person log in last, or if you suspect suspicious logins, you can go and see a login history there. So I hope that's helpful to you. Let me just make sure I covered everything I wanted to share with you today. Yeah, I think that's it. The only other last thing I wanted to share with you is that you can, I have a video coming up after this one that's called VD121, and where I show you how to see what licenses you purchased and which ones you've used, so you can see what your system usage is and make sure you're taking full advantage of everything you've purchased. So be sure to watch that video. And then also, just again, would love you to subscribe to this channel and give us your feedback. Let us know in the comments if you have any questions or challenges, what you're struggling with, or what you loved about the video, what's helpful to you. That will help us to just continue to produce content that's meaningful for you and useful in your Salesforce self-implementation of ProSuite.